Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I am so excited to be here with you and make this really beautiful card. I'm going to show you how to use your Stampin' Up markers and blender pens. We're also going to do a little bit of ink to paper with a sponge dauber. And I just want to show you different ways to use different die sets. So I really love my die sets. I use them all the time. I have so many different ones, and I especially love the shape dies. I think they're amazing. So any kind of rectangles, circles, labels of any type, I think they're amazing, and I use them constantly. So today I'm using the Blessings of Home stamp set, and I have paired it with the Heart and Home Designer Series paper, which you see here on this card. And there's a little bit on the inside here. Here's one of the beautiful dies that's out of this stamp set, and it is so pretty, isn't it? So let's go ahead and get started, and we are going to pair it with some other dies, and I will show you those as we go along. So the first thing that we're going to do is the base of our card is a basic white cardstock. So let me get started with that. We're going to take an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece, and we're just going to take it and we're going to fold it. Give it a nice little crease. I like to sometimes take to the other direction as well. And make sure that you have a nice crease that you're working with. So this is the orientation of our card, as you can see. And I have a couple little pieces. So we're going to use some Designer Series paper, and I have a strip of the Designer Series paper that's 1.5 by 5.5, and that's going to be attached like so on our card. So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way, right? So I'm going to use my seal adhesive. Move my card out of the way. So we will just attach a little bit of seal along our piece of Designer Series paper. This is such pretty paper. And we're going to give it about, I don't know, 2/8, not even. I don't even know how big that is. Not big. Maybe 3/8 of an inch on that side. I just want to leave a little border, and then I'm going to trim. I always kind of cut it a little bit long just to make sure that it fits on there nicely. We'll get rid of that piece there, and we're going to push that down real good with our bone folder. Make sure that it's nice and attached onto our card front. So that is the main part of our card, right? All this is attached onto another layer. So I have cut another piece of basic white cardstock, and it's 3.25 by 5 inches, and that's what's going to go right here. But before I do that, I'm going to attach a piece of Designer Series paper over the top. So the piece of Designer Series paper that I'm attaching is 3 inches by 4.75 of an inch. So let's go ahead and attach that. You can see the pretty wood grains that are on the back sides of these papers. So let's go ahead and attach that onto our panel. This is the main panel that's going to get all the love. Okay, so that's what's going to go right here. All right, so now I took a piece of 1/2 inch basic white cardstock by 5.5 inches, and I used this die set right here. It's called the Scallop Contour dies, and while I do have the matching stamp set that goes with it, you do not need the stamp set to use these dies. All of these beautiful scalloped in layers like this scallop pieces are gorgeous, all of them in their own right. You have this gorgeous large scallop. So this is a must-have even if you don't have the matching stamp set, which is called Color and Contour. It is amazing, so definitely check it out. It's out of the annual catalog, and if you don't have copies of those, you can go to my blog, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, and on the sidebar or at the bottom, if you're on mobile, you can look for the copies of the catalog, and you can definitely check it out. If you would like me to be your demonstrator and you need a physical copy of the catalog, just let me know. I'd be happy to send you one. So let's let's go ahead and get started. We're going to use this scallop here, and that is what I used for this border piece. You don't have to cut an entire rectangle out. You can just use a piece, and that's what I have done. So I have cut a 1/2 inch by 5.5 inch piece. I laid it onto that piece. Let me grab the die again. And laid it down. I cranked it through my die cut machine, and it cut this little border piece for me. This is what we are going to attach onto the back side of one end of this piece. Doesn't that look pretty? I think so. So we are going to use a wet adhesive. I'm just going to run a line of it down this right side edge here. And this is a really strong adhesive. It's I call it the green and white glue. It's by Tombow, and it's called multi-purpose liquid glue. We sell that, and we're going to put that just like that. I'm going to layer it over the top. I'm just going to make sure that it's on there nicely, that it covers, that I have the border that I want, because you do have some wiggle room, which is really nice about this adhesive, is that you have wiggle room. But once you press it down and hold it for a minute, you are in. Okay, I'm going to trim this tiny little piece I saw was sticking out there, but the rest looks pretty good to me. All right, let's continue to move upward and onward. Next, I've used a scalloped circle, as you can see here, right there. And it is from our Layering Circles dies. I absolutely love these, and this is the very largest scalloped circle that we have. And I went ahead and cut it out, and this is what it looks like. We are going to stamp that with the words, "You are a real blessing to everyone around you." We're going to put that right there on this end, and we are going to use our basic black ink. And then on a piece of 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 inch basic white, we're going to go ahead and stamp the main floral image, this one right here, out of the Blessings of Home stamp set. So let's go ahead and move my white cards out of the way just in case I drop a stamp or something happens. You never know, right? So we got to be prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. I'm going to bring it down here where I can see a little better. And I'm going to move that to the right-hand side, like so. And we're going to go ahead and give it a nice little stamp. That looks pretty awesome. Quite happy with that. All right, so next we are going to stamp the floral image. Let's move this out of the way temporarily. Move our scallop out of the way. And we are going to ink this floral image a little bit differently because it is a little bit larger. So I'm just going to stamp it upside down. I like to do that with images that are big. I just feel like I have more control to deposit the ink where I need to. And we're going to go ahead and stamp that onto this piece right here. All right. That's all the black stamping we're going to be doing. So I'm going to move the black ink pad out of our way. I'm going to go ahead and clean these 2 stamps relatively quickly. This is my chamois, and that's what I use to clean my stamps. I keep it in a stamp case to keep it nice and moist, but I will go ahead and scrub my stamps with it. All right, just like that. All right, so now we're going to put this to the side temporarily, and we're going to do the inside of our card. We have the "Thank you for inspiring me," and we have this cute little border. So let's go ahead and bring our card base back in play, and we'll bring these stamps out. Here's the "Thank you for inspiring me," and we're going to use the fresh freesia, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And then I will bring my card down and I'll stamp it about in the center as best I can. You know, you never know if you're going to be perfectly centered. We're also going to take our strip here of designer series paper, put some seal on it, and it gets attach. Did I put it all the way to the end? No, I left a tiny bit there. All right, and then I'm gonna also trim a tiny hair off because I always tend to err on the side of caution. So that is there. We're gonna go ahead and cut out one of the dies pieces. So let me grab that one. And we're gonna use this one right here. It's such a pretty one. And then we're gonna put that little guy on the inside of our card. So let's clean up our words. I can get all the stamps out of the way and all of, well, we're going to use this ink pad, but we can go ahead and die cut out this piece for the inside. All right, so we're going to grab our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to use plate number 1, plate number 2, paper, die, plate number 2, the second plate number 2, and we're going to give it a crank. I like to hold on to the top when I'm getting close to going underneath, just like that. And when we pull this back, there is our beautiful floral piece that we will be using. Let's move this out of the way. All right. And we'll put our die away. I'm just going to slide it in here. All right. So let's go ahead and attach that to the inside. I'm going to pull out my silicone mat because whenever I'm using small pieces, I definitely don't want to get glue all over my work surface. So I bring out my silicone mat and I'm just going to use the same wet adhesive. I'm just going to put dots of it along here to adhere, the same one that I used for the scallop. And as to not get glue on my fingers, I'm going to grab my tweezers and here we go. I'm going to flip it over and I will position it on my card. There we go. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. All right. So let's go back to the front of our card. Our base is complete. We're waiting to add our top layer, right? So this is what we have so far. Now, this circle, we are going to use our ink pad. Like I said, I wasn't quite done with it because I needed to color around there. So I'm going to ink that up in our fresh freesia. I'm just patting it into the ink pad. And these are our sponge daubers. I'm just going around. And I'm just depositing some pretty fresh freesia ink all the way around my scallop to really just help it pop out. Just want to make sure that I have it nice and saturated. All right. I'm very happy with that. So there is our scalloped. Now, let's go ahead and start coloring our floral image. So we're going to start with our Stampin' Write markers. And all these 3 colors that I'm using are part of the in color for this year. So the 2021 to 2023 in colors. And as you can see, I'm just basically going over the marks that the artist has given on this flower. I'm also going to outline the outside of the flower. And as you can see, I'm leaving quite a bit of white. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to grab one of my blending pens. Now when you buy these, they come in a 3-pack. They're all the same. And then I'm just going to drag some of that color from either the edges onto the whiter part so they're not quite as stark white. And we're going to do the same thing with each color as we go along. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add color where the artist put them on these small purple flowers. And since they're so small, I don't need to outline them, but I am going to use my blending brush, and I'm going to pull that color around and deposit it on the white spots so they're not quite as stark. All right, and the last color is our soft succulent. That was fresh freesia. I'm not sure if I said that or not. I can't remember. But I am just following along these leaves. Now those small leaves are not going to really need any color blending because they're so small that basically the color that I deposit on there fills them up. But the larger leaves, we will do a little bit of ink blending on those. So you can see that these small leaves are pretty much colored up once I've done that. And I'm going to go ahead and do my stems. You can see how quick it is to color. I'm going to go ahead and pull that color out and onto the white areas. All right, we're done with that. Now I forgot to do the centers. I just realized I got excited and forgot about those. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in those dark areas, and then I will do the same, pulling the ink with the blender pen to the center pieces. All right, that's all the coloring we're going to do right there. And now we just need to die cut our flower out. Now, just to save time, I went ahead and die cut that ahead of time for us. So here it is, already done. And we are going to attach this onto our main element. So we're going to be using some dimensionals. So let's go ahead and first adhere our circle. And I'm just going to go around and put some dimensionals all around my circle here. All right. And let me grab my Take Your Pick tool because it's a must for me when I am using dimensionals. I love to use it to pull the backs off. All right. Come on. There we go. Didn't want to come off. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and attach our circle onto our main piece. It's going to hang over just slightly on the one side here. And then I'm going to bring it kind of near the bottom, right about there. All right. Now this piece here is going to be attached up onto my card, and I'm also using dimensionals to attach it. So I'm going to go ahead and use some minis as well as regular size dimensionals. The minis help because they fit into these little tiny spots, like these cute edges and points. So I do like to use the minis when I'm using parts and pieces. That one's the back of it already came off, so I'm just going to put it here to wait to be thrown away. So I use the small ones first, and I just like to add them around the outer edges because sometimes when the flowers are small like this piece here, you can't get into the nooks and crannies, right? So, and then we'll just put two big ones. All right. Let's go ahead and pull the backs off. I have to remember which one's already off because one of them didn't want to come off. There we go. There it is. So we will pull the backs off, and when they have reached saturation point, which means the Take Your Pick tool can only hold so many of them, we will go ahead and pull those. All right. So there is our flower, and we're going to go ahead and position it. I just want that little dip there to be around that word blessing, and I'm just angling it like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good to me. All right, so there is my floral section. Now this piece is also going to get attached with dimensionals, so we're just going to put them around the outer edges. I like to put plenty of dimensionals, especially when the piece has multiple layers on it, because that way I know that it's not going to fall in any particular spot. Let's get the last three. All right. Now we're going to attach this little layer. We're going to kind of figure out where we want it. And what I want to do is these three sides here, I want them to be about even. So I'm going to just turn my card sideways, as you can see, and I really position those three edges. And once I have them in place, then I can press them down onto my card like that. Okay, two more things. We need to add our ribbon. This is a 12-inch piece of soft succulent open weave. It's really beautiful ribbon and it's really easy to tie. So I'm just going to do 2 bunny ears, cross them, put that piece through, pull. I always end up with my bow upside down, but when I pull on these little legs here and give them a nice tug, I'm going to keep going till I have my loops exactly how I want them. And that looks really pretty to me. What do you guys think? So we're going to use mini glue dot. So let me grab one of those. I'm going to use my take your pick tool again. And I'm going to attach that mini glue dot onto the back of this bow. So let's go ahead and push it down there. And then I'm going to attach it like if it's holding this little sprig of flowers all together. So we'll press that in place. And then let me grab my ribbon cutting scissors and we're going to trim the ribbon. I do want it to be rather long, but not quite that long. But I do like to have plenty of ribbon when I'm tying. So go ahead and cut there and there. I think I cut that one a little bit too long. There we go. What do you guys think? I think that turned out rather well. Our ribbon looks pretty. And now the finishing touch on our card is going to be the bling. And I'm using the 2021 to 2023 in color jewels. They are absolutely gorgeous. They come in all the in colors. And since I used 3 of the in colors on this card, fresh freesia, soft succulent, and pale papaya, those are what I'm going to choose from. And I think I'm going to go with the succulent. I really like that color. I think they're super pretty. So let's go ahead and go with that. I'm going to use the putty end of the take your pick tool to pull up these adorable little, let's put one over here. And then I'm going to add one more. Get my putty to start working. There we go. Let's hide it over here by the ribbon. What do you think? That looks awesome. Very happy with that. It's a very pretty card. All right, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this card. I have enjoyed making it for you. It is a fun one and fairly simple. You just have to work your way through all the elements, right, and layers that I have put together for this card. But I think that the results are worth it. What do you guys think? Thanks again for watching. I'm so grateful, and definitely check out the Blessings of Home stamp set. It is such a pretty stamp set, don't you think? I do. I have enjoyed working with it and the dies that come with it. I have plenty of videos using this stamp set. It is something that I'm showcasing on my blog, and my blog, I do blog every single day, so you can go there and get lots of inspiration. I will link it in the description below. It's inkyhandswarmhearts.com, and definitely check that out, as well as the products that I use to make these cards, which will also be in the description below. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful if you made it all the way to the end. Definitely subscribe if you are not subscribed to my channel. I will give you lots of inspiration weekly and also on my blog on a daily basis. Definitely like, comment, share, and ask your friends to subscribe too by sharing my videos. Going ahead, and there's a share button at the bottom. You can click it and you can either text, copy the link. It's a really fun way to showcase my cards, and I appreciate your support. Thank you again for watching. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!